give me life and you nurture my soul. I never walk alone. When I am tired and I don't know, you show me how. You're always with me, never leave me, always by my side. You're always with me, I will follow. I won't let you go. There's nothing like a soul deep peace. That's what you bring to me. There are no words to sing, just deep, deep, deep. You're always with me, never leave me, always by my side. You're always with me, I will follow. I won't let you go. The sun shines, a new day dawns. The blackbird sings her song. Children play, the rain falls, their mother calls. Come on home, the day is done. Rest your sleepy head. Close your eyes a little while. I am by your side. You're always with me, never leave me, always by my side. You're always with me, I will follow. I won't let you go. Okay, so one more time, okay? Yeah.
This is from The Quiet Mind, Sayings of White Eagle. Love means seeing good. You must learn so to act, so to live each day, that you are naturally at all times a being of love. Love is not sentimentality. Love is seeing good. seeing God, recognizing the divine law of cause and effect working throughout all life. To love is to be tolerant towards all men, towards all happenings of daily life, to be patient, thoughtful, kind, and meek. All these qualities are contained in the one word, love. Everybody's going, Think about yesterday and the day before. Look in the mirror. I'd have a tough one with that. I've made a few changes since November 5th. Till the evening and midnight of November 5th, going into November 6th, I've made some changes. I used to read the headline news all the time because I like to be informed. Several sites I would check in the morning, at lunchtime, to see what was happening. I haven't done that since November 5th. I haven't done that. I haven't really engaged in social media, anything around the result of November 5th. I just haven't done it. Except one thing. There's one thing. Renee and I did watch Saturday Night Live. And we saw the cold opening, if you saw the cold opening. Anybody see the cold opening on Saturday Night Live? Okay, a few of you. The rest of you are laughing, you don't even know what you're laughing at. But we did watch the cold opening on Saturday Night Live. But she asked me first, because she knew I had changed my way of engaging with the world. Why? Why did I change? I can tell you this. I was gutted. I was gutted after November 5th. Gutted. And my friend Olivia Shaw gave me that word because she texted me and she said, I am gutted. And I'm like, yes, I feel gutted. I feel like I was cut from here to here and all of this was hanging out. Like it was gutted. Like there was no healing that. I had a friend of mine, another minister, saying, we're having a healing ceremony on November 6th. I'm like, healing? I'm gutted. Like, there's no healing this. I'm not ready to heal. It wasn't time for me to heal. I was gutted. Gutted. And then I started thinking about, well, what is it in me that's making me feel this way? You see? What is it in me that's making me feel gutted? And I decided, and I wrote in my journal, I forgot to bring my journal, but I have my notes here. I wrote in my journal what I thought that meant to me. And gutted in that instant means when everything I believe in and everything I thought I was true turns out not to be true. The beliefs that I built my life on are untrue for the majority of the people in my community, in my state, and in my country. And that made me feel gutted, like unable to live. Unable to live. All of this happening when I was sitting at the lake with my family last week. Mom, is that you? My second mother, Beverly. That's who it is, right? And yet right there on that Saturday morning, sitting on the porch, overlooking the lake with the sunrise, with feeling gutted, feeling that way, the owl hooted, the crows cawed, the squirrels screeched, the fish were jumping, the wrens tweeted, and the sun rose calmly and beautifully over the lake. And I'm thinking, what in the world do I do with that? What do I do with this wound and that in front of me? Well, I got back from the trip with my family on Monday. So on Tuesday, after having not been to the gym for 5 days, I decided I needed to go to the gym, but I didn't want to hear what anybody had to say about anything. So I took some earbuds, and I took old people earbuds. I usually don't wear anything in my ears. I don't like it. So mine are not Bluetooth earbuds. Mine are like over the ear, going into your ear things, plugged into my phone, not Bluetooth, right? And I'm sitting on the bicycle, And I decided, Reverend Meg, who pastors Hope Recovery here, had sent me a video before the election. I ran into her here on Tuesday, early that Tuesday, and we talked about things, and she said, yeah, I have this video, and I said, yeah, I have this one, and we texted it to each other. Never took a look at it until that Tuesday, and I thought, I'm just going to sit here on this bicycle, and I'm going to look at this video, because I don't want to talk to anybody else, because I am gutted. So I began to listen to this video that was made in 1994 by Henry Nouwen. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Henry Nouwen. And he started talking, and I started sobbing. I started crying, I'm pedaling, tears are falling down my face, and I'm crying, what he's telling me, because that message was exactly for me. It was exactly for me in my guttedness. And now, guess what? It's for you too. Because here we are. Like I said, Henry Nouwen was a Catholic priest. He was an academic. He was an author. He was someone who was passionate about understanding or following or engaging with the spiritual life. I mean, he was born in 1932. At the age of 64, he died. A young person now. I'm older than that, so young person. And this video that I saw, like I said, was made in 1994, so just a couple years before his death. He was speaking in this congregation in this church. That's where the video was. And that is the inspiration for my talk today. Henry called his talk Finding Our Sacred Center. And I thought, my God, that's what I want. Isn't that that's what I want? I want to find, because when I feel gutted, there ain't no center to be found. Like it's gone. There is no center in me. It's not there. And I'm like, oh, if he can tell me how I can find my sacred center, I want it. And I want it now. I want to know what that is. So I was just pulled right into that video, man. I was pulled right into his words. I knew my center wasn't intact, but I wasn't ready to give up. It wasn't a give up thing. It was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do when I feel that way. Well, he starts off by saying, listen, it's not going to be easy. I'm like, oh. It's not going to be easy because we have covered up our center with all sorts of stuff. We have covered it up with hurt and anger and grief and disappointment and discouragement. We've covered it up with all those things and we can't find it. It's not findable. It's not accessible to us. We've covered it up with confusion and doubt and anger and hurt. We've covered it all up. And he said, we're not going to be able to find our sacred center if we have it layered over with all that stuff. And the other thing he said is, we have covered it up with our busyness. And you all know this. You all know. Some of us are proud to be so busy. It's not true. It's not true. He gives the example, we think it's so brave that you recover from these really difficult situations. Like, his mother just died last week and he's back to work. Oh, how brave he is. No, he's not. You know what he did with that pain? He just pushed it down. He got busy. Because busyness it gives us a distraction, doesn't it? And that's useful sometimes for a while, but it doesn't get rid of the pain. It just doesn't go away. Busyness, he says, is what layers over our sacred center. We cannot get there with busyness as the way we are. He says this, there is no space left for God. There's no space left in me to access the divine nature that I am. There's no space. What we really need to do if we were to access our sacred center is to make some space. Like to make some space around us and to make some space in us. That's the idea, to make some space. I'm like, yeah, to make some space. So there I was, again, at the lake, wounded and gutted, And all this wonderful beauty and space was around me, but there wasn't any in me. There was none in me. It was covered over by all this other stuff. Like, oh, that's what is happening to me. So he talks about there are actually 3 spiritual disciplines, 3 spiritual practices that allow us, that will guide us in creating more space for ourselves. Because that's what really I want. I want to find my sacred center. And you got to want it. I mean, if you don't want it, it's okay, but you got to want it. Like, you got to want that sacred space. You got to want that connection to be there. And he says that if we are to find our sacred center, the first spiritual practice, the first spiritual discipline is solitude. And I'll tell you, my friends, it's the last place we tend to go. We want to go out and do all this on social media and talk. We want to gather and heal right away. We want to be with each other. You know, we don't go to solitude first. Usually we try everything else and then we say, maybe I should pray about this. But we don't go there first. And you're probably thinking, all right, Paula, another practice. Where am I going to find to put this in my day? See you busy. You know, busy. When am I going to, you know, there's the old Hindu saying, we should spend 20 minutes in nature every day. But if you're busy, you should spend an hour. See? Yeah, we're so good. But I'm really busy, so it's 5 minutes enough? You know. If you're really busy, maybe it's an hour and a half. No, there's wisdom in that. There's wisdom in that. And listen, we don't like being alone. We don't like being alone. Most of us do not like being alone. It's scary. We might not admit it, but we'd be afraid to be alone. We'd be afraid maybe about what we might find. Because often, if we are in pain or we have that pain and we go into solitude, it magnifies right there. And that's not someplace we want to be. Why do we want to go there? Why do we want to go into solitude and feel our pain? We don't need to be afraid. He says, do not be afraid of your pain. Do not be afraid. I mean, be brave. Be dare enough to go with all of your pain into solitude and say, hey, this is me right now. This is how I feel. I'm a mess. I'm messed up. I feel terrible. It's awful. I'm mad. Like, take it there. Take your pain. Don't be afraid of it. Take it right into the solitude. Don't be afraid. It's the most courageous thing you can do. You know people who don't do that? They're the pretenders. They're the blamers. That's who doesn't take their pain. They're the complainers. And that's me looking in the mirror, by the way. I'm not saying they, them. I'm saying they, me. When I am afraid to take my pain into the solitude, then I will do those things. Pretend it's not there. Blame somebody else. Complain. Get out together and let's complain about it. No. Dare to say, this is my pain. This is what I feel in the solitude. And by the way, there's no pain that's greater or worse than any other pain. That's a lie. It's useless to say, oh, my pain about this, it's not like being in Gaza right now or Ukraine. No, listen, I will guarantee you there is enough loss and pain in your life for you to carry. You don't have to worry about anybody else's pain. Take your pain and dare to take it into the solitude. Be there. Take it. Take it. It takes courage to go there, because all those voices will come at you right there. But it's so awful. You're so awful. You're a mess. The whole damn thing is a mess. It's never going to get any better. You can't do anything about it. You're helpless. All those voices will come in the pain. Take it anyway. That's the bravery that you need to take your pain there. And here's the miracle. Here's the miracle of solitude. Is that if we are brave enough to take all of our messiness, all of that guttedness into the solitude, if we are willing to sit with it and be right in the center of it, and that's where the miracle happens. That's where the amazing things happen. In that pain, at the very center of the misery of it, there is the whisper. There is the whisper of the divine. There is the whisper that says, you are my beloved. And listen, you have got to believe that that's there. You have to be willing to believe that there is this divine love, that you came from love, you are made of love, you were never separated from love, and it is right there, whispering to you and reminding you, you are my beloved. You are my beloved. Right there, you got to believe it. And you've got to be able to look in the mirror and say it. I am the beloved. You know, one time I'm losing my breath. I was at Unity Village taking a class, and I don't remember all the details around it, of course, because that's what happens in those aha moments. I don't know if it does for you, like the one thing sticks but the rest kind of falls away. And for some reason in this class, it was probably a Bible study class, and we were tasked with taking a scripture and reading it, like something that spoke to us. Something that spoke to us in this, I don't even remember what section or what, it was in the Gospels somewhere. Couldn't tell you where. And when I was meditating that evening about what I would say, just one thing came to me. See, into the solitude. This is what I'm remembering. Into the solitude. And this comes to me, like, because I don't know the Bible. I am not a Bible scholar. I am not the one. I'm not that one. But this came to me. And the voice came to me, the sense. It wasn't even a voice. It was a sense that said, you are my beloved, and I am pleased in you. And I was like, how am I ever going to say that in class? You know, how am I ever going to say that? Like, to own that, to say it in front of people, to even feel that at the time, I was like, is this true? Is this really true for me? And I thought, well, that's what it came, so that's what I'm going to use tomorrow in class. So I went into class, and people were saying all these great things, and I'm thinking, holy cow, this is what I committed to. I could barely say the words. I was crying again, I'm crying. I barely get the words out that said, this is it for me. You are my beloved. I am pleased with you. You've got to be able to own your pain, and you've got to be able to own your belovedness. Both. We've got to be able to own the pain, take it into the solitude, and realize that there is that voice, there is that whisper, there is that love that we come from, the divine cosmic pulse of life, whatever you call it, is right there, whispering, you are love. You've always been love. You will always be love. You are love now. Right?
Yes.
That, my friends, is the invitation and the mystery and the possibility in solitude. The invitation, the mystery, and the possibility in solitude. So ours is to practice, to not forget. Yes, there may be a march I go to. Yes, I stand up for this. Yes, there are things to do. But the start is solitude. The start is solitude. To remember what you really are, your divine nature. That's where the power comes from. And you know, we've never tried it. We've never tried it on a big enough scale for it to take over the world. You know, all the guns and bombs are taking over the world. Like, we could take over the world with this. Like, this is what's possible. But we haven't tried it because we're afraid. We're afraid it's not enough. We're afraid we're not enough. But whatever is the thing that's gutting you, it could be anything. You know, it happens in relationships that end. It happens in diagnoses. It happens in losing people. There's enough loss in your life to remember feeling gutted about it. It doesn't have to be about a particular date or what's just happened. It can be anything. Gutted. Go into the solitude. That's where we find the truth of what we are. And that's where we find the strength and the power and the peace. And right in that middle, the joy of our very being. Since Tuesday, my life has changed again. Because I am just on fire about this. I am on fire about solitude. I am on fire about the possibility in solitude and what it can bring. I'm like, yes, that is what's turning me around. I don't have to read the news, or I can. It's my choice. But this practice right here, solitude. So let's do a little bit of that, right? Oh, one more thing before, at the end of Deb's message last week, she read some lyrics from Jules' song, where you hear hands. And there were some lyrics she didn't read that really apply to this lesson that I'm presenting to you. Because when we're able to do that and feel inspired with possibility, to feel that we are the beloved, here's what happens. And these are Jules' words. What happens is we are God's eyes, God's hands, God's mind. We are God's eyes, God's hands, and God's heart. We are God's eyes. We are God's hands. And we are God's heart. And that's what happens. That's what happens. So let's take that into meditation right now. Give me a breather to breathe in and breathe out. And together, just for a few moments, to enter solitude, to enter as we are, to own our pain and our discord, to own our grief and our anguish, to own it and to take it, to be brave enough to take it into solitude, and to be wise enough to know that right there in the midst of it is the whisper that reminds us of who and what we really are. So breathing in and breathing out for a few moments. So take another deep breath in. And I'll close with this story, a reminder to you. There was once a time when all human beings were gods, but they so abused their divinity that Brahma, the chief god, decided to take it away from them and hide it where no one could ever be found. Where to hide their divinity was the question, so Brahma called the council of gods to help him decide. And they said, let's bury it deep in the earth, said the gods. But Brahma said, no, they'll find it because the humans will dig into the earth. Then the god says, let's sink it in the deepest ocean. But Brahma said, no, they'll learn to dive in the ocean, they'll find it. Then the god said, let's take it to the highest mountain and hide it there. But once again, Brahma replied, no, we'll not do that either, because they will eventually climb every mountain and once again take up their divinity. Then the gods gave up and said, well, we don't know where to hide it, because it seems there is no place on earth or in the sea that human beings will not eventually reach. Brahma thought for a long time, and then he said, here is what we will do. We will hide their divinity deep in the center of their own being, for humans will never think to look for it there.
Peaceful warrior, you've been awake so long. I know you're tired when you ask what's going on. I know you see it, it still feels hard to believe. They don't mean it. Is that enough to let you sleep?
May I
Be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be happy.
see you next week.